Let me tell you about Becky. She's 35, successful marketing executive, gorgeous, funny, has her life together. She came to me heartbroken because every man she dated seemed to lose interest after a few weeks. I don't get it, she said, tears in her eyes. I'm being honest about who I am. I'm telling them exactly what I think. Isn't that what men want? Sarah was doing everything she thought was right. She was being direct, confident, showing her standards. But here's what she didn't realize: there's a massive difference between being confident and accidentally triggering a man's deepest insecurities. There's a world of difference between showing your worth and making a man feel worthless. After just one conversation where I pointed out the 12 phrases she was using, Sarah's entire dating life transformed. 6 months later, she called me crying again, but this time, they were happy tears. She was engaged to the man of her dreams. Today, I'm going to share those exact 12 phrases with you, because every woman deserves to know how her words are landing in a man's heart. Ladies, what if I told you that there's one sentence you might be saying to men that's literally making them run for the hills? What if the very words you think are showing confidence and maturity are actually screaming red flags to every decent man who crosses your path? I'm about to share something with you that might sting a little, but honey, it's going to save your love life. Because right now, as we speak, there are amazing women, smart, successful, beautiful women just like you who are unknowingly sabotaging their chances at love with 12 specific phrases that make men's attraction disappear faster than ice cream on a hot summer day. Number 1. I usually date men who... Oh honey, this one is relationship poison disguised as a compliment. When you say, I usually date men who are more established, or I usually date men who have their own place, you think you're setting standards. But here's what he's hearing. You're not measuring up to my ex-boyfriends. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're at a job interview, and the interviewer says, we usually hire people who are more qualified. How would that make you feel? Exactly. You'd feel like you're already failing before you even started. Men have egos, yes, but more than that, they have hearts. When you compare them to other men, even indirectly, you're telling them they're starting this race 10 steps behind. Instead of inspiring them to step up, you're making them feel like they'll never be enough. Here's what to say instead. Focus on what you appreciate about him. I love how ambitious you are. It's so much better than, I usually date ambitious men. Number 2. At my age, I don't have time for games. This phrase makes every man feel like he's on trial from day one. You think you're communicating that you're serious and mature, but what you're actually saying is, I'm treating this like a business transaction, not a romance. Here's the thing about men: they fall in love through play, through fun, through those light moments where you both let your guard down. When you lead with, no games, you're accidentally killing the very energy that creates attraction. I had a client, Maria, who used this phrase on every first date. She couldn't understand why men never called back. These weren't players, they were good guys who wanted something serious too. But they felt like they were being interviewed for the position of Maria's boyfriend, instead of being romanced by an amazing woman. The truth? Saying you don't have time for games often comes across as jaded and bitter, even when you don't mean it that way. Men can sense when a woman is protecting herself so hard that there's no room for him to actually reach her heart. Number 3. I'm very independent, I don't need a man. Ladies, I know this comes from a place of strength. You've built a beautiful life, you pay your own bills, you're proud of what you've accomplished. But here's what men hear when you say this. There's no space for me in her life. Men don't want to be needed for your survival, they want to be wanted for who they are. There's a huge difference. When you lead with your independence like a shield, you're accidentally telling him that loving you means he'll always come second to your career, your friends, your life that's already perfectly complete without him. Think about it this way: if a man said to you, I don't need a woman, I'm perfectly fine alone. How would that make you feel? Would you feel desired? Would you feel like he was excited about the possibility of building something beautiful together? Here's the beautiful truth. You can be independent and want a partner. You can be strong and desire love. These aren't contradictory, they're complementary. Number 4. I've been hurt before, so I have trust issues. Honey, your heart has been through battles, and every scar tells a story of your strength. But when you lead with your wounds, you're asking a new man to pay for crimes he didn't commit. I get it. You want to protect yourself. You want him to understand why you might be cautious. But here's what happens in his mind. He starts seeing himself through the lens of every man who hurt you. He starts walking on eggshells, wondering if today's the day he accidentally triggers one of your trust issues. Love can't grow in a garden of suspicion. When you announce your trust issues up front, you're creating a dynamic where he's guilty until proven innocent. And good men, the ones who would never hurt you, they feel that energy immediately. Instead of sharing your wounds as warnings, share your healing as hope. Let him see that you're a woman who's learned to love again, not a woman who's afraid to. Number 5. You remind me of my ex-husband, ex-boyfriend. Stop. Just stop. Even if you mean it as a compliment, even if your ex had good qualities, this phrase is romantic quicksand. When you compare any man to your ex, you're making him a supporting character in your old love story instead of the leading man in your new one. Men want to feel like they're discovering uncharted territory with you, not walking in another man's footsteps. Here's what's really happening psychologically. You're telling him that instead of seeing him as his own unique person, you're filtering him through memories of someone else. That's not attraction, that's projection. Even worse, if the comparison isn't flattering, you've just insulted him while making it clear you're not over your past. It's a double blow that kills attraction instantly. Number 6. I don't understand why all the good men are taken. This innocent-sounding complaint is actually a relationship killer disguised as vulnerability. When you say this, you're telling him that you don't recognize him as a good man, or worse, that you think all the quality men are unavailable. But here's the deeper issue. This phrase reveals that you're focused on scarcity instead of abundance. You're operating from a mindset that good love is rare and hard to find. That energy is magnetic repellent. Men are drawn to women who see possibility, who radiate hope, who make them feel like they could be your person. When you announce that all the good men are taken, you're inadvertently telling him he's not good enough or that you're settling for whatever's left. Number 7. I'm too old for this drama. Age is just a number, but when you weaponize it against joy, you make yourself sound exhausted by life instead of excited about love. Every time you mention being too old for something, you're aging yourself in his eyes. You're telling him that you've lost your sense of wonder, your ability to be playful, your willingness to experience the beautiful messiness of falling in love. Men fall in love with energy, not age. They're attracted to women who make them feel alive, regardless of the number on their driver's license. When you constantly reference your age as a limitation, you're putting expiration dates on experiences that could be magical. Number 8. I have high standards. Having standards is beautiful. Announcing them like a warning label is not. When you lead with, I have high standards, you sound like you're preparing him for an exam he's likely to fail. It creates pressure instead of attraction, anxiety instead of excitement. High standards should be demonstrated, not declared. Let him discover your worth through how you carry yourself, how you treat others, how you move through the world. Your standards will be obvious without you having to announce them. Number 9. I'm not looking for just a fling. This phrase, while honest, often comes across as desperate for commitment rather than deserving of it. When you announce what you're not looking for, you're focusing on your fears instead of your desires. Men don't want to feel like they're being recruited for the role of serious boyfriend before they've even had a chance to fall for you naturally. Love is a process, not a contract negotiation. Instead of declaring what you don't want, radiate the energy of a woman who naturally attracts lasting love. Let your actions and energy communicate your worth without having to spell it out. Number 10. I'm probably too much for most men. Honey, when you say you're too much, you're not being charmingly self-deprecating, you're planting seeds of doubt in his mind about your compatibility. This phrase often comes from past relationships where someone made you feel like your personality, your emotions, or your expectations were excessive. But when you carry those judgments into new connections, you're doing that person's work for them. Here's the truth. The right man won't think you're too much, he'll think you're just right. When you announce that you're too much, you're giving him permission to see you that way too. Number 11. I don't usually do this. Whether it's about texting first, being affectionate, or opening up emotionally, this phrase kills the magic of the moment by making it sound like you're doing him a favor instead of enjoying a natural connection. When you say, I don't usually do this, you're highlighting your discomfort instead of embracing your desire. You're making him feel like he's pressuring you into something instead of inspiring something beautiful. Love should feel natural, not like a series of exceptions to your usual rules. Let yourself be present in the moment without apologizing for being there. Number 12. If you can't handle me at my worst. Oh, this quote needs to be retired from dating forever. What you think sounds like confidence actually sounds like a warning that you're planning to treat him badly and expecting him to accept it. Relationships aren't about handling each other's worst, they're about bringing out each other's best. When you lead with your worst as a test of his love, you're setting up a dynamic where poor treatment becomes proof of commitment. The right man will love you through difficult times, but that's different from expecting him to endure unnecessary drama as a love test. Beautiful soul, I know some of this might have stung a little. Maybe you recognize yourself in a few of these phrases. That's okay, it means you're ready to grow, ready to love differently, ready to attract the kind of man who will cherish every word you speak. Here's what I want you to remember. You are not too old, too much, or too anything for the right love. But sometimes, we carry our past hurts into our present conversations, and those wounds speak louder than our hearts. The most attractive thing about any woman isn't her age, her accomplishments, or her independence, it's her ability to make a man feel like the best version of himself when he's with her. When your words lift him up instead of put him on trial, when your energy invites him closer instead of keeping him at arm's length, that's when real attraction blooms. Before any date or conversation with a man you're interested in, ask yourself, are my words coming from love or from fear? Love attracts, fear repels. It's that simple. If this video opened your eyes to how your words might be affecting your love life, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which phrase hit home the most. And if you know a woman who needs to hear this message, share this video with her. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is help each other see our blind spots.